Hello and welcome to the show. We're back at the Endurodrome, driving more vehicles till destruction, starting with a Toyota Celica. This is the GT4 version. This is an update for a fairly old model. I remember taking this around one of the destruction circuits we've had in the past, but this is an update to get it working once more. It is, if I remember correctly, a rear-wheel drive version of the car. I don't think it ever got quite made into four-wheel drive, but either way, it's going to have a go. It's something different that we haven't had tackle the course before. By the looks of the tyres, I think it's got slick tyres all around, so this is more of a road car perhaps than an off-road vehicle. The suspension, I'm hoping, is going to be half decent at dealing with, you know, like the jumps that we've got going on around here. A pretty powerful car, this, pretty fast, which is a tad, well, scary, shall we say. When you've got a lot of speed, you do end up sometimes hitting stuff with, well, more speed than intended, and overshoot jumps can almost be as bad as undershoot, or sometimes it can be worse than undershooting them, because I've got to try and drive the car as quick as possible. Look, on the gravel and on the dirt, I might actually struggle severely with traction if it has got this much power going through the rear of the car. We shall see as it goes around, around the course. Yeah, okay, so we're going to be quite oversteery if I'm not careful with this. I think a little bit more caution is needed. We might not have a fun time through the mud pit here. Let's just go, actually got out the other side relatively nicely. Well done, Toyota. What we like across the rocks, not a problem this time around. The rocks are a scary obstacle for a car like this. Oh, that's an awkward place to have a spin. Yeah, the rocks are a scary obstacle for this sort of a car, because I don't really want to hit them. I don't hit them in the nicer places, because, well, the less rocky places, because when you hit those places, the way that the terrain is shaped, the cars tend to roll. So I've got to hit this nasty rocky bit, and if it's not got a massive amount of ride height, you run the risk of tearing off bits on the underside or snapping wheels off and so on and so forth. It's always a concern. We haven't really seen it too much, but I do think we are going to see, well, I keep thinking we're going to see some of the lower cars come a cropper on it, and not so much. This jump down here is one that we do need speed for. We want about 60 miles an hour, although because of the bumps, oh, we've got more than 60 miles an hour. We lost a tyre. That's not a major concern. The suspension damage that went with the loss of a tyre, that's a bit more of a concern. Suspension damage is quite significant. Oh, that's more significant. That's more significant. That is a wheel axle gone, and that will mean no more drive for Celica GT4. We've got our way through the section. I think we're going to come to a halt on the ramp, if not beforehand. There is nothing that we can do here. It's going to coast its way up the ramp and get stuck. Actually, not the first car to get stuck on the edge of the ramp, but there we go. I have a feeling this might actually be a first tie, because I'm pretty sure one of the Pizimas got stuck on this very, very ramp, if I remember correctly. I think potentially the Pizima track car might have come undone on this very ramp. That was unlucky. That was very unlucky with the wheel axle. It took a battering on the landing of the jump, and then as soon as we got to a speed bump, that was all it needed. And with the wheel axle gone, that is game over. That is game over for the Celica. Well, we have a little bit of a Toyota theme for today. Up next, we have got the Camry. This is an all-wheel drive version of the car. It's a 2.5 litre V6 possibly, so mediocre amount of power, okay amount of power. Not going to be a full-on race car, but also not going to be, you know, struggling to make it around the hills and so on. All-wheel drive is, of course, quite helpful. It is also automatic, which might have issues possibly. I'm not really sure. I tend to avoid automatics around this sort of course because you never know if something gets broken, the automatics can sometimes get very, very confused as to how to deal with it. And let's face it, something's going to get broken around here. It's going to get broken and probably quite quickly, and if wheel axles start getting unhappy, the autos can get very confused as to how to deal with it. But this is what we've got to deal with, so let's hope that it can keep going. As I said, all-wheel drive is, well, always advantageous. Christ, the understeer in that is a little bit more than expected. It's not the grip there that I was hoping for. My bad. The advantages of all-wheel drive is if we lose a wheel, the car will still be able to keep driving. Unlike with, unfortunately, the poor Celica that got one particular corner of the car battered over the course of a little section of circuit. Yeah, if this loses a wheel, won't matter too much. The car should still be able to keep going. Loses two wheels, and then we're going to start having some, well, potential issues if one's a front and one's a rear. Ultimately, yeah, all-wheel drive is advantageous around here, but we can still come undone. Hell, we've had cars lose both the front and rear drive shaft in the space of a couple of laps around this circuit. It's brutal. This is a brutal track, although so far, Camry's holding up pretty well, I will say that much. There is pretty good, like the suspension is not full-on classic American car wobble-matic affair, but it is actually doing a remarkably good job at dealing with these bumps. It's going to be fast enough to make it up here, no problem. Not quite all the way over the other side. That's going to get the radiator leaking. Not ideal. Means we're going to, well, the car's going to break. The radiator going means that this will fail at some point in the not too distant future. It's whether something else goes wrong before. The steering's actually a little bit tweaked. Little tweaked steering we can deal with. When there's a lot tweaked steering, it becomes a lot harder to deal with. Yeah, you can see it's pulling ever so slightly to the left. That's fine. I mean, the front of the car will probably not look particularly healthy. But suspension is putting on a very, very good show. This is what we like to see. There aren't too many kind of normal road-going cars. Certainly like Beam's standard vehicles. There's quite a few older like sensible, normal-ish road-going cars. There's not so much. I mean, you've got the Sunburst. I guess you've got the ETKs. They're still kind of, well, I guess there are base models of those. But the ETKs are still more kind of high performance or more luxury areas of the market, where this is just a normal saloon car, essentially. Well, not in England, you don't get these particularly, but yeah, this is a more normal road-going saloon car. Whoa, it's gonna get big crash through the mud pit. Car's fine from that. Like, rolls look spectacular, are actually not that bad for the car in the long run, although we have tweaked the back. Ooh, back wheels at a funky angle. Yeah, a roll isn't actually too awful. If we go for a tumble in the car, well, that's doing damage to the roof. Don't care about the roof. Roof doesn't matter. Doesn't stop the car from driving. If it lands on its side, like this one did, then it does matter a little bit because you bend, well, a rear wheel. Both rear wheels are bent. Oh, don't go over that way or that way. Oh no, not the concrete barrier. Oh, god damn it. Well, that's not so good. Now, I did say if we've got all-wheel drive and we lose a wheel, we should be good to carry on. We should be good to carry on in this car. It might be difficult with the rear wheels bent in the manner that they are. That is the concern. Now, we have got to be able to reach 20 miles an hour, otherwise the car will be counted out from the crawler. Crawler rule, basically to stop heavily damaged vehicles being able to just limp around. This looks like it should be good for 20 as we come downhill. Gearbox, are you going to do anything? This is the other reason why I don't like an automatic gearbox, because now we are I'm trying to get it going to make the jump, and we're just going to smack the limiter and overheat the engine faster. Oh, something got stuck on the floor. Missed that. This gearbox is very annoying. Definitely don't want that, I don't think. Well, it's going to be... We've got potholes to navigate. Essentially what's happened is, because it's so twisted, the diff is spinning the unloaded wheel. and then we're not going anywhere. Well, we are still just about getting some movement. Come on, car. Now, if this gets beached on here because of the bent chassis or because it's lost a wheel, that will technically be the car counted out. If it gets stuck in the mud, we are allowed to pull them through. But if the chassis is so buckled it simply can't do a speed bump, that is a game over for a car. Oh god, the steering is actually still remarkably okay, having lost a wheel. With the wheel down, hits on that front corner are a concern. You know, there's nothing really to protect that front corner. Oh, there's now fire. There is now quite a lot of fire going on in the engine. That's not good. That's not good because that's going to spread to a tyre. That's going to take out the one wheel doing all of the steering. The engine is going to overheat and explode in the very near future. The car is still it's just going quick enough to be allowed to continue onwards. It's a shame the back of the car is so buckled. Otherwise we could carry on fairly normal. Like in terms of steering, it's actually doing a pretty good job, but because the back of the car is so buckled there, that wheel keeps coming off the ground, I can't actually put any power down. We're up to 30 miles an hour for a jump. Here we go! Epic, well, not quite an epic jump. Fire's gone out. Oh, no. I take that back. I take that back entirely. Fire has not gone out. Are we going to drive like the S-Series did? And just... Oh, come on. Come on, Camry. The engine's going to blow up in the near future, but... Oh, there we go. We've got some speed. Got some speed going towards the speed bumps. Hey! Across those. Well, we've hit a container. We're going to ping off bits and pieces around here, okay? We're going to ping off just about everything around here. There's not much more that I can do. Fire, I'm actually really surprised the fire hasn't spread. Normally once the fire started, that's going to engulf the car within a couple of corners, really. This is just a small, slow-burning fire. Not entirely sure what's burning. We normally see fires attributed to leaky fuel tanks. This, well, not a leaky fuel tank. The fuel's still okay. Probably something falling off the engine, but not sure what part. We're still making our way around. I mean, if we can keep going like this, the engine's hot, but it's not given up yet. I don't know how much longer it will be until the fire does spread to more important parts of the car. Oh, come on, you can make it up this hill. You're going to have to get dragged, unfortunately, through the mud. There goes the coolant overheating. Well, I mean, it's about to get quite hot in the... Well, the passenger seat's getting quite warm, quite toasty over there. I mean, I've got to try and get it through the mud, if we can. I mean, if it is going to make it through the mud on its own power, then I have got to try. It's actually doing it. Come on, Toyota, you can make it. Look at this! Well, I don't know why Toyota don't want their car. Oh, I was about to say I don't know why Toyota don't want their car again. I mean, the Camry on 3 wheels and on fire has pulled its way through a mud pit. If that doesn't make you want to buy one, I don't know what else ever will. It's now unfortunately beached itself with its one good wheel. Come on, Camry. There we go. Poor car. No, don't go that way. I want you to get up. I need you to get up this hill because then there might be some traction. Because I need to be able to turn left a little bit because that gets the wheel down on the ground. Oh, no. Don't get stuck here. Come on. You've been doing so well. I'm not allowed to use reverse to get a car to make a corner if it's broken on steering. However, if it's broken because it's run out of traction, because it's lost a wheel, I don't think there's any rules about that. Come on, find some traction, you terrible diff. I say terrible diff, it's a terrible broken car. It's not really the diff's fault when I've done this to it. Oh, come on. Hey, it lives! The engine's going to blow up any second now. But it lives! It's still going. I mean, the rocks are not going to be kind to it. They're not going to be friendly to it. Come on, Camry, we can do this. Across a rock. Yes. Now avoid the big pit of mud, as I could do without getting you stuck in that one. Hey, we're back up to 21 miles an hour. It's still going. How are you going, car? I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. The fire's gone out mostly. This might put the car out. The head gasket's gone from that. I mean, it was always likely, let's face it, to clonk onto those rocks. Can't really do much about it. There's not much that can be done there. I have a feeling that's the engine gone. I think the engine is about to expire. It's now revving very slowly. It is getting the car moving again. We'll get a couple more, you know, a few more meters. Maybe we can get up another 0.1 of a mile. Maybe before the engine expires. Nope, it's going uphill. That's the engine gone. That will be the car out. It's on fire, lost a wheel, limped its way around. Damn good showing, though. A very, very good showing. Again, it was another little bit unlucky with the wheel, although wheel coming off or not, the engine was always going to overheat. It's just it didn't travel as far as it perhaps could have done because, well, we were going slow because of the loss of the wheel, or various other bits hadn't been as bent as they ended up. Still, it's a car that clung to life. It really fought and it really, really wanted to do well around this course. Our third and final car to run through the course today is from Burnout Paradise. This is the Montgomery GT 2400, essentially an LMP prototype style car. Something that, let's face it, is not exactly ideally suited to, that's probably more a Group C car, I guess, but either way, not exactly ideally suited to a destruction circuit. I will say the distance indicator is going up randomly on its own, and the airspeed is stuck at 1 mile an hour, so it's probably going to be less accurate than normal. That's okay, we don't... It's a rough estimate. I'll still take where it actually breaks down on the circuit as its finishing point, rather than because I know it's not exactly the most accurate of things. Don't really know how this vehicle is going to behave. Apparently, not really got much rear-end grip through all of that, or a lot more power. Let's face it, race cars not exactly fond of this circuit. They're very low slung, they're very stiff suspension, and, well, speed bumps are not good in these sort of cars. Oh, okay, we're fine, we're across that. Power delivery in this is pretty bloody savage. It wants to go sideways, and it wants to go sideways all the time, and that's on tarmac. On dirt, I've got no control whatsoever, and the radiator's gone immediately. Well, that's good. I mean, we'll normally get, even with the radiator going on the very first stretch, because the engines aren't preheated, we'll probably still get a couple, maybe 3 laps of use, depending on A, how badly it's leaking. Chances are in this it's going to be pretty bad, or it's going to keep taking hits to have it keep leaking at the end of the day. Oh, come on, make your way through there. There we go, we are through. Yeah, so it's going to overheat. It's going to go out. It's certainly not going to break a record. Weren't necessarily expecting it to. However, it's how long is it going to survive some of this other stuff? Oh, car's actually quite heavy. If we could go over, please, that would be great. How long is the suspension? How long are the front wheels going to hold? Will we keep having steering and so on? The answer is, so far so good. We've got a little bit of steering. Oh, bloody hell. It's pulling a bit to the right-hand side. Nothing major yet. Can live with it. Just moment power is causing us grief. The sheer power in this car on the dirt is making it very difficult to drive. Again, I mean, I'm not surprised, especially if the back end's going to bounce around in the air, and you've got all sorts of varying levels of grip and traction and... no, behave yourself, car. As I said, while these vehicles will be pushed as hard as they can, a car like this cannot be pushed very hard on a surface like this. There is not the control in the car. There is not the grip in the car. In fact, actually getting up to 60 miles an hour is a little bit dicey because, well, I blip the throttle, spin the wheels, and we go for a spin if I'm not careful, and I really don't want to do that. These speed bumps coming up here are nasty ones. Oh, okay, that was actually quite good. We hit the first one, launched us over pretty much all of it. We're going to have impromptu drift car. That's not ideal, but there we go. We are through. Bodywork is a little scruffy. Radiator is the biggest, I guess, important bit that's been damaged. Oh, there goes some more bodywork. We are still good to clonk our way. Oh, the back doesn't look very secure. Again, it's only bodywork, I hope. Something else is pink. I don't even know what that was. Is that a side panel? Oh, there's more side panels of... well, various bits of the side. The left-hand side of the car's lost most of itself. The right-hand side still... I think the side skirt is made up of like 2 or 3 different components, so some of those have gone falling off. I think that was a bit of front bumper from the first lap around. Oh, my steering's gone funny. Okay, yeah, front left. Oh, front left is... I mean, it's still connected. don't know if it's got... Maybe it's lost suspension travel or something. The front left's turning and it's got all sorts of weirdness going on. It's very... I'd say it's very difficult. A car like this, I can't actually fart around too much with the camera, because even at the best of times it's difficult to control, let alone when we start having big handling issues. So, actually quite difficult to show you what's going on with that front wheel. Yeah, it's like it's... As I'm turning it, it's getting different levels of camber as it's going through. It's... Yeah, there we go. So you see how it's turning and it's now getting positive camber and toe. Essentially the front left's all out of whack. It is... That is the technical term right there. It's a technical, mechanical, engineering term. It's all out of whack. From too many whacks, but never mind about that part. Come on, through the mud. You can do it. If the Camry can do it, you can... No, you can't. To be fair, the Camry couldn't do it. It needed the tiniest of toes. It got very unlucky. I think I might grab that by the drive shaft, which is not a safe place to grab a car. Maybe by drive shaft it might not be... Oh no, it might be more from the rear, like the rear frame. That's fine. We can grab that. That looks pretty solid. I'm going to say that much. Like the vehicle on this... From what it looks like here, bodywork fairly loose, will ping off. There looks like there's a kind of a tub underneath that is the car chassis. I mean, kind of a silhouette style of vehicle. Still got most of the side skirt on the right hand side. Left hand's wobbling. I'm impressed it's gone this far. I'm not going to lie. I'm actually quite impressed it has got this far without major issues for what is such an inappropriate, such an unusual sort of vehicle to deal with this kind of... I say unusual, it's usual for me, but this is not a happy place for the Montgomery. It'd much rather be racing on tarmac at, well, probably higher speeds at about 50 mile an hour. I am struggling to get this lined up for the jump. I'm struggling to put the power down. We'll just make it, but we're going to go, whoa, big spin on the landing. And now we've got everything flapping in the car. That's another big crunch for the front of the vehicle. Wonder if both front wheels are now sometimes steering, sometimes not steering. They've given up steering there. Ugh. It's like the front wheels have not connected to anything but the tie rods. And they've got just free rein to move around a wheel. I can't see a thing. Ugh. Right, we've got to be able to navigate this chicane on our own with the steering. We have got through there. At some point I might have to pull the bodywork down at the back because it's actually getting in the way of where I am trying to go. There we are. We actually got across those jumps fairly neatly, surprisingly, and across the next ones. That's all okay. Oh, we're going to lock up the brakes. I thought that was drive-throughable. It isn't. Learn something new. Some signs are drive-throughable. Hey, we lost the bodywork at the back. That's kind of good news, actually. Kind of glad that's gone. God, it's going to clonk everything across there. It's quite a broken Montgomery now. There is not much left. Not much left to the car, but still enough to keep going. I mean, temperature-wise, this is not overheating particularly quickly. I do like that about a car when we're trying to destroy it. Slow overheating will probably do wonders for its chance at survival, its chance at a good... That won't do itself wonders, its chance of survival. Front wheels are in... Oh, God, those front wheels. Surely that's going to take... Yeah, it does actually look like they're only held on by tie rods now. I think the entire... I don't know if it's double wishbone suspension at the front. I mean, my back suspension doesn't look even. I think we've collapsed one of the shocks or something going on. It's kind of cool, actually, seeing the vehicle... I'll be able to see all the exact... chassis components going on. Yeah, I would imagine if the front is double wishbone as well, that might have lost, well, both of the wishbones to the point whereby the car is essentially being held by the tie rods, and if one of those snap, we might have difficulties. Yeah, if a tie rod goes, well, you know, we are going to have difficulties. If the rear wheel suspension gets any worse, we might have difficulties. The fact that it's even living this far, though, is a testament to the... Oh, that was a clonk on a rock that I would really rather have not done. Is that wheel still working? Only just. This has got the strongest... It is officially got the strongest tie rods of any vehicle in existence, quite possibly, to have survived and had the wheels held in place by that for so long on a course like this with that there is no suspension movement back there. I guess the fact that it does spin out regularly is helping it. We're not able to carry much speed in a lot of places, so we'll lose the back end, go round and have to set off again, and we're not necessarily hitting the bumps at 60 or 70 miles an hour like some of the cars do. Because that would, well, I say it would definitely kill it. Who knows? We can't really get up to speed to find out. Oh, that's... no, that's still alive. Somehow that's still alive. How is that alive? I was in all sorts of trouble coming up to the ramp. We got the speed, but the landing was all sorts of wonky. No, it's still good to go. It's still got... Whoa, it's got some steering. I mean... Oh, that front right is... I mean, I can't... Oh, we're in trouble. We are actually now in lots of trouble. The car has got to be able to... Now, I know that this car is in all sorts of trouble steering-wise. Now, it's got to be able to make it through this chicane under its own power. Now, I know what condition this car is in. I'm going into the chicane fully aware of the condition that we are in with the steering. It's got to be able to make it through here unassisted. It has... it wasn't from over... If I go into the chicane, if I bounce on the landing of the jump and overshoot it and hit a wall, I'm allowed to reverse it or pull it out from that. If I'm going into the chicane knowing full well, like this car is in in serious steering trouble. If I'm going into that chicane and I've not overdone it on the jump, I've got to be able to make it through on its own. that is the way it works. If I make a big oversteer moment and wedge it somewhere stupid, then I'm allowed to reverse the car out. Oh, that might have done it. Trying to brake for this area and the car just pulls. Oh, we're down to one wheel. We're down to one wheel working at the moment. I think at the front, that's another huge hit. Oh, that wheel's gone. That wheel, I've got no steering left anymore on it. I don't know what it's held on by. It actually still held on by the tie rod, but not actually doing anything useful anymore. It's just flapping around in the wind. Oh, this is gonna not be good. This is not gonna be good. One of the concerns I have going further into this run is the brake is still technically working on that wheel somehow. Let's not question it too much, but the brake is still technically working, and as that wheel flaps around, it does run the risk of pulling the car about. Oh no, it's actually come... Well, let's say it's come back. It was briefly stood up in a way that might be seen as useful. I have no idea how this car is living. The engine... If this goes out from an engine overheating when it's had so many steering issues, then that'd be mighty impressive. The fact that it's kept going. I think it is helped by the fact that it has... It's got to that damage stage where it's still quick enough to drive around the course, no problem. It isn't actually damaging itself too much. It's not really taking too much damage. The mud pit is unfortunately completely impassable for it. So it has got to be dragged through there. Although it's not really a benefit to the car, because it ends up just being stuck in it for longer with the engine. And the engine's still on. Not allowed to turn the engine off at any point. Unless it accidentally gets turned off from whatever reason. Oh, no, stop going that way. Ah, that's it dead. Oh, it might not be dead. Okay, it might just be it might have a diff that allows it to move on one wheel. If it does have a diff that allows it to move on one wheel, okay. I mean, it's probably not going to be able to get up the hill. I don't know. We'll give it a try. I think that might be... No, I think that is it for the car. Oh. It was a really valiant effort. It was a really valiant effort. I mean, it's technically going to go out with, well, drive axle failure. The steering kind of led to it coming up towards that jump. Thought I was lined up, and we didn't have what is... It's the most broken thing. It's the most broken thing. It's dead. It's gone out. But I tell you what, the Montgomery put on a hell of a show, and that is a really good distance for a vehicle like this. on to our leaderboard, and it is an impressive performance from the Montgomery to put it into an 8th position. It actually went out on the same sort of section of rocks as the Blackfoot, although it was able to get a little bit further with its kind of half-ish working briefly moment. That's a good performance for what is essentially a Group C LMP sort of prototype car, doing as well as off-road truck. Admittedly, the Blackfoot did lose a wheel quite early on, but still, the Montgomery's performance is very, very impressive. We have to go a little further down to find, but not that much further to find the Camry. It is in a 20th place in an overheating section of the table. The distance indicator on the likes of the Camry on the Blackfoot, when they're down to 3 wheels, a little bit wonky. The Regency had a wobbly rear axle, so yeah, it's not a science, those distance indicators. For the overheating part, the Camry rolled, a few meters down the road further than the Bolide. Of course, the Covert actually went out at a very, very similar stretch of road as well. It's not quite as far as the pair of them. Tough day for the Celica. The GT4 will go into a 46th place. It was the Bazima road car that got stuck on the exact same ramp, although the Celica got its nose a little bit further over the edge, so I've given it the 46th position. It was unlucky, the same corner of the car got hit heavily on the landing of a jump, followed by a speed bump, and it was just enough to snap the rear wheel axle. It can happen. The Endurodrome does not take any prisoners. That, though, is going to be it for this video. As ever, I shall link all the mods used in the description so you can download them, have a go with them yourself. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, a goodbye.